When we think about Bitcoin and its creation about over 10 years ago, it was all about looking at the existing financial ecosystem and all the troubles that are within it. For TomoChain, it really is an extension of that. We want to make it so that finance on the blockchain can go mainstream.
Hello and welcome back to Altcoin Buzz Spotlight with me, Leah Heilpern, the show where we speak to entrepreneurs, innovators and thought leaders in the cryptocurrency and blockchain space. Today we're doing things just a little bit differently. You may have noticed talks of an AMA with TomoChain going around on our social media. Well, that's exactly what's happening today. Joining us is the founder and the CEO, Vuong, and we also have the Chief Business Development Officer, Kin, to answer all of your questions. Don't forget, you can let us know who you want us to interview next in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the show, then don't forget to hit the like button. Vuong, Kin, great to have you guys on the show today. How are you both doing?
Yeah, I'm great. Thanks for having me.
And yeah, really happy to be here. Really excited about doing this AMA with you guys at Altcoin Buzz.
Yeah, absolutely. This is our very first AMA, so we're very excited just to jump straight in. And we want to start with business partnerships. That's our first topic. So firstly, I will come to you, Kin. When are we actually going to see enterprise usage on TomoChain?
Sure. So actually today we have a number of enterprise partners, some of which have actually launched. We have 3 different offices at TomoChain. One is in Hanoi, one is in Singapore, and one is in Japan. The one in Japan focuses heavily on enterprise work. So we've already announced one partnership, which is with a company called Hardfork, which essentially does traceability on the blockchain, looking at the automotive scene, essentially trying to track the life cycle of vehicles. So we did a POC with them. We're looking into launching into phase 2. We also do other work with so for example, there's an exchange called AIS. We've worked with them to build their exchange. We've also had their exchange token is also launched using the TomoChain platform. And another derivatives exchange called BitOrb, which will be launching. Also, we've worked with them to launch their exchange token as well, using the TomoChain platform. Most recently, we teased actually last week, there's a company that's going to be using the TomoChain blockchain for food traceability. So it's kind of interesting. What you'll be able to do is for the products, they'll have QR codes on them. So so consumer can walk up and scan them and see their point of origin and basically all their authenticity information. Once they purchase it, the representative will actually scan that, lock it into the blockchain so you'll know that it's actually been sold, so that it prevents any form of what do you say?
Any form of counterfeit or sort of doubling or
Thank you. Counterfeit. Counterfeit. I'm sorry.
No,
yeah,
you're
so
okay.
It prevents any form of counterfeit goods, basically, because right then and there, the cashier or the person at the vending machine will actually authenticate it onto the blockchain. So then afterwards, if anyone scans it again, it'll automatically be detected as having been sold. So this is something we'll be announcing in the coming times, but it's an exciting thing to see. So we are working with 4 or 5 different enterprise companies on various solutions, traceability as well, on in healthcare and with payments. So, and we'll be announcing them as we can, but most of them are in NDA.
Fantastic. And I think it's so interesting to hear about blockchain technology being used outside of finance, right? You know, being used, you mentioned health there as well. And I think it's so exciting. It kind of just shows us where we're going with the future, really. And you mentioned a lot of different partnerships there, but what about any future partnerships with other companies? Can you talk to us about?
Yeah, so as I mentioned, basically we have about 4 or 5 under NDA right now that we will be announcing as soon as we possibly can. But again, these are in the spaces of traceability, healthcare, and payments. So that's basically where we are right now. But I think over the next several months, you'll start to hear much more of that coming out.
And what is your business strategy to actually get more investors and more users since you develop many products and many different protocols?
Sure. So to begin with, I think we need to look at the advent of blockchain. When we think about Bitcoin and its creation about over 10 years ago, it was all about looking at the existing financial ecosystem and all the troubles that are within it, centralized controlled currencies, and the ability to inflate it in unbelievable amounts. So the idea of Bitcoin started from there. And for TomoChain, it really is an extension of that. We are looking at innovating around the DeFi, around the finance space. We want to make it so that finance on the blockchain can go mainstream. So if you think about it, right now, for any end user, whether they're trying to do borrowing, lending, saving, everything has to go through a third party, through a centralized bank of some sort. What we want to do is bring that to the forefront, whereby you can remove that middleman of sorts, where you can maintain your funds, you can share it with others, you can save it, earn interest, lend it out, earn interest there as well, but it's powered by blockchain. The main thing here, though, is that we want to do it in a way which is entirely frictionless. That means that the end user doesn't have to know that they're actually using blockchain technology. They shouldn't need it. It should be a very seamless experience. That's the entire focus that we've been doing. So the business strategy, we've been building 3 protocols. It's sort of it's a trifecta of sorts. Tomo Z, Tomo X, and Tomo P. Basically, the idea is that with Tomo Z, you can issue a token, you can have a stable coin, for example, and you can send it without having to worry about, hey, I need to pay a gas fee by holding some other token. You can simply send it like you would with a PayPal or a Skrill or whatever it might be. So we can probably remove the idea of having to use blockchain right there. The Tomo X protocol is about DEXs, it's about DeFi, the idea of sharing value, being able to trade value. And this also enables the whole borrowing and lending schema as well. So users can lend to each other, earn interest. And the third part of this trifecta is we want to make sure that any financial transactions are entirely private. So we have another protocol in development called Tomo P for privacy. This will ensure that whatever we do, whatever value is sent across, it can be hidden. And I think that's the most important thing when it comes to thinking about being able to bring blockchain to the next stage when it comes to finance. And so we're building these things to work together. So right now, the entire idea is to make it easier to onboard users. So one example, we have a company called Coin98 that is using one of our protocols such that they've been able to onboard over 100,000 users onto their mobile application. They've issued their token using TomoChain. And these users don't even realize that they have to use the TomoChain blockchain itself. They can simply send tokens back and forth. And they've been able to acquire these number of users in 4 or 5 months, and that's it. Because, again, we've removed the idea of needing to use blockchain directly, paying gas fees. So I think this is just the starting point. So we're trying to build up for that future where anyone would be able to be banked for themselves. And that's really, so the entire idea is onboarding users and onboarding businesses that believe in the same basic idea.
Yeah, and I think I hear a lot about, mass adoption will only ever come, or we know that it's arrived once people don't know that they're using the technology. And I totally agree with that idea. I don't think, it's just so technical. It's so difficult, for the normal person to wrap their head around. So how on earth could they ever get involved, if they actually have to know that they're doing it or they have to actually do something, I think it makes much more sense, like you said, to go to the gas station and to not have to change your tokens or whatever it is.
Right. I mean, the entire learning process of using blockchain, it's like 15 steps just to get into this, right? First, what is Bitcoin? How do you buy it? It's just ridiculous, right? And to expect anybody to actually learn that, right? I mean, I can't even imagine how much time you, me, Long, or anyone just to be able to understand this space. How do we even use this stuff? My mom and dad, my grandma, my grandpa, I want them to use blockchain, but they shouldn't have to know what it is, right? So yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I can't even get them on Skype, I'm having trouble with that. So
me too.
It's a nightmare.
I've been looking to WhatsApp. WhatsApp's enough for me. I can't ask them to do anything else because otherwise forget it.
No, absolutely. So speaking of technology, Long, we will come to you now. I want to know, what are the major developments right now of the Excalibur hard fork, and how does it actually attract more users, developers, investors to actually use TomoChain?
So the main technology of Excalibur enables the full node to store order book and run matching engine on TomoChain. What is special about it is that it's run by the collective of masternode, and therefore it's very secure and also decentralized. And the system enable applications such as spot exchange, P2P lending, that share the same liquidity of the whole network. I think with this upgrade, TomoChain would be one of the best suited public chain for building financial applications such as exchange, P2P lending, wallet, because because they are very cheap to build, very decentralized, borderless. I think financial application on TomoChain would attract more and more users over time. And I think that's our goal, to get more users and getting more US on the chain. And then maybe more developer, investor will come after that.
So what is tomobridge's technology to actually secure users' funds when wrapping tokens long?
So our tomobridge team studies the model of wrap BTC on Ethereum, and we try to improve upon it. And I think the tomobridge team, we use the best practice in security, such as multi-signature and multi-server, multi-separate server to secure the fund. And the best thing about it, all of the issue token as transparent, 100% backed by the collateral. They are auditable all every time. So I think there's a really helpful utility and solution for the TomoChain ecosystem.
So just sticking with technology for the minute then, TomoChain has 150 open relayer slots. So how can Tomo keep up with OKex as you guys are technically a latecomer? So do you think 150 layers is potentially too many?
So for anyone who doesn't know what 0x is, so they are one of the major solutions building on top of Ethereum, I think starting from 2018. And we studied 0x in the past, and they have several issues, such as it actually costs Ether to post a new order. And it's very slow to mass order. And furthermore, Ethereum processing a block at 15 to 17 seconds. Right? So it takes quite a long time to actually get the order across. Consequently, I think the TomoX on TomoChain is much faster and much better overall. It's also very easy to build a new exchange using our TomoX SDK. You just use the software and you can customize different elements of the front end, and you can have a new exchange or P2P exchange very easily. So the barrier to entry is very low. So I think,
go on, please.
It's a very value adding to the space, and I think it's just overall better solution.
I want to just move on now to marketing and outreach plans, and Kin, we will come back to you. I want to know, when will you guys actually be listed on other exchanges like Coinbase, OKex, the big ones?
Sure. So I think if you look at TomoChain and look at its history over the past 1 year, 1 year ago, the biggest exchange that we were on was KuCoin. They're a big supporter of TomoChain. But over the period of time, we were the second project to win the community listing on Binance Dex to get an earned listing on Binance.com in summer of last year. Since then, what we've been doing is looking regionally and trying to expand. So in China itself, over the last few months, we were listed on MXC and on Biki, which are very relevant exchanges there. Moving into Korea, we most recently were listed on Probit, and we're exploring the bigger options there as well. India, we just got listed on CoinDCX just the other day, and we are in talks with other major exchanges in India. I think the focus here is looking to expand in Asia and capture all the exchanges there, the significant ones there. And we're also having conversations with those in the United States. The big exchanges you were mentioning in the United States as well are on our roadmap. It's just a matter of timing. And it's really a matter of discussion in terms of when we should actually do that. The most important thing is when we launch into any of these regions, we have to also have a plan with respect to the users that are there. If we just launch into a market, right, with an exchange, and we don't have a plan, it just becomes a problem. So we've been spending a lot of time, particularly in China over the last 1 year, to move to get everything going on that front. We've hired 2 marketing executives focusing on the China market, and because we want to make sure we capture that area. So I think you'll be hearing a lot more news with regards to the larger exchanges over the next few months. It's just a matter of timing again and kind of focus.
Well, congratulations anyway on those partnerships, on those listings that you mentioned there. Just finally then, what can we expect in the next few months? Is there anything that you can tell us?
So in terms of moving forward over the next few months, when it comes to, I think TomoChain is our major launch here, and it's been under development for over a year at this point. So with this launch, right now, what we're going to be doing is allowing anyone to register their own decentralized exchanges. In about a week or so, we're going to start to see launches of these decentralized exchanges. We have a number of very interesting ecosystem partnerships that we're going to be talking about, but I'll tell you, one of the most important things is making sure we can launch these exchanges in just a handful of minutes. So we're working with partners which include Anchor and including a new company called Threefold that'll be coming out to make it easier for anyone to use decentralized technology to launch these exchanges immediately. In addition, TomoChain itself is going to make it fairly easy to be able to launch these exchanges. We're going to be offering a very special service to decentralized exchange operators so that they can get going within just a handful of seconds. Moving after that, we'll have a series of announcements about new DEX operators that will be coming on to TomoChain as well, TomoX, and other ecosystem partners that will be wanting to list their own tokens and to kind of plug into our overall liquidity that we'll be building on TomoX DEXs.
So a lot of exciting stuff coming up then in the next few months. Guys, it's been such a pleasure having you both on today. Thank you so much for doing your AMA with us.
Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thank you very much.